Hey, hi everyone, and the future of our country. Welcome to Simplified Mind. This is Rajendra Prasad, and I run a channel for KCT students. To take admissions to the KCT through various calls in Karnataka and engineering and all. So I was asking a lot of, they were asking a lot of questions, about engineering and what course to choose, what to choose, and a lot of questions were asking. And I thought of why don't I make these videos in English so that it can be beneficial for across the country. And at this point of time, everyone have same doubts like what course to choose, which one to choose, and many are not getting into IITs and IITs, and we know the fraction of people that get into IITs. And if you're not getting into IIT or NIT, that's not the end of the life. Actually, there are a lot of people achieve a lot even without IITs and NITs. And so one of the most requested video for me is this computer science engineering, and they were asking me about what is the demand and the scope and what if recession is there. And then PCM, I'm a PCMB student. Can I take computer science engineering or engineering? And then like they were asking about what is CS and IS differences. In some places we call IT. And what if there's no placements in the colleges, and many colleges in India doesn't have proper placements. And what about the salary ranges? What is salary ranges that can happen? And also the free courses, a lot of free courses offered in the internet. Of course, now people are promoting a lot of paid courses, but there are beautiful and wonderful the free courses which many are not aware of that. And I'll discuss about all those things. And these are questions that are asked to me, and I thought of instead of searching in the internet. And Google has a lot of marketing now, so a lot of and you get more confused searching in Google. So I thought of asking my friend, so who is a graduate from BIT Bangalore, and then he worked in Cisco company, and he was also a part of hiring team at NITs and all. He visited some NITs to hire his companies. Then he's working in Amazon AWS, the Amazon Web Services in the Canada. So I thought he'll be a good person to give insights into all these things, so it will be beneficial for the students. And I also made a one more video separately for the students who are already into second year and third year of engineering, so what they can do, and so that they can build a resume and get a good placements and all. And thank you so much for watching, and give a thumbs up for this kind of videos. And let's have a conversation with him. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Vijay, actually, for coming. It has been a really long time, no? We were
Yeah.
Your time is different, my time is different. I understand it is night there. I think night Alvaiga, so it's around night
Yes, yes.
36, and
It's 10 p.m. Yeah.
10 p.m. here. Okay, and thank you so much for coming. And here, see, the people who have finished just now, they just finished second PUC, or maybe 12, they have finished, and they want to take up computer science. And
Okay.
I feel you are the best person to guide them, because I know you personally very well. And we're also from the same school. I mean, same kind of Navodaya Vidyalaya,
Yeah.
blood is there. Okay, Navodaya Vidyalaya, blood is there. Okay, and you have finished computer science from the BIT Bangalore, and then
Yeah.
you worked also in Cisco for some couple of years. Then now you're working as in Amazon Web Services at Canada, right? And
Yeah.
so like. So now, just briefly tell me about like how about your career till now here, how you came, like.
Sure. Yeah. First of all, my name is Vijay, and it's a pleasure talking to you, Rajendra. I know you for a long time now. Um, so, a couple of standard disclaimers. First of all, I'm not an expert. Like, I'm into industry for like 6 years now, 6 or 7 years.
Mm.
So, whatever I say comes out of my limited experience. So, I'm nowhere near to whatever you said, like the best person to talk about CS.
Okay.
And so everything that I say for the next few minutes or like hour, all these are my personal opinion, and I don't represent my employer for this discussion. So just a standard disclaimer.
Okay,
Um,
then next.
okay, so yeah, I did my bachelor's in computer science from BIT Bangalore, and I did my internship at Cisco when I was in my eighth semester, and then I got converted there. I did my like I joined as a SDE, software development engineer. So it's a standard profile. I worked with Cisco for 3 years. I used to work on data center switches and routers. So it was in networking domain, and then I joined Amazon Canada. It's been almost 3 years now since I joined Amazon. And then within Amazon, I work for a group called Amazon Web Services. I think most people would have heard about
Yeah,
cloud, and
AWS.
AWS is what uh, they refer to when they say cloud. So I work for that group.
Okay. So now here is first one. So let us discuss about someone who want to take computer science. So like
Okay.
they're confused, after 12th, right? After they finish 12th,
Hmm.
second PU, so they want to take up 12th now. So there's some many have doubt if I take computer science, will I get jobs, or like what they can expect in computer science, what they will study. Yeah, just briefly tell.
Okay. Yeah, like these are multiple questions, right? So let's separate into different sections and then
Yeah.
we talk about it. So
Mm,
let's first talk about opportunities, right?
mm, mm.
So is CS something that has demand or not? So from my opinion, I personally don't see, I cannot think of a world without computers, right?
Yes.
So as you see, um, there is more and more adoption of computers in every aspect of life, right?
Yeah.
Be it phones, be it computers, and then we are talking about IoTs now. Everything is becoming smart. Your refrigerator is getting smart. TV is becoming smart. Everything, right? So we are depending more and more on computers. So which means the demand for engineers is not gonna go away anytime soon. So opportunities are there, and CS will be in demand for next a decade at least, right?
Not why decade, it will
Um,
be more than that only, no?
at least, right? I can predict for 10 years. Um, so my brother also is in the same domain, and then like it's very common to have this thought that um, there can be recession, there can be job losses because it's a private
Yes.
company, all that, right? Even we had the same thought. My brother took computer science back in 2008 because there was a recession back then, right? So ups and downs will always be there, but the eventually like there will be down for some time, but eventually it should pick up, right? So opportunities are there, and it's gonna stay that way, and it
I
is a
think
very good domain to be in.
very good domain actually. Of course, everything. Your brother also is in, I think, Microsoft, right?
Yes, he works for Microsoft in Redmond campus, US.
Oh, you have really wide knowledge of companies, Microsoft, Cisco, you know,
No, not really.
Amazon Web Services. Okay, so okay, fine. So now that's okay. So we have lots of demand, definitely. Okay,
Hmm.
and next is so when they enter computer science engineering, right? So
Hmm.
like what are the subjects and how it will be? Like very briefly, I know I don't want 8 semester subjects and about subjects and the nature of study. Is it more like theoretical,
Hmm.
or like more like practical? Like how it is?
Yeah, theoretical and practical actually depends on the university that you choose. Like for example, VTU, from what we know, is a more inclined towards theoretical, right?
Mm.
We have like one major project and then one minor project in fifth semester, and then we do have labs, but it's definitely not as practical compared to US universities or like Canada or like any other universities, right? US, Europe, or something outside of India. And I'm not sure about other coursework apart from VTU, but it's university
It's
dependent.
almost same.
That is one.
Universities almost all
University dependent.
theoretical based actually. So what I heard. So if a
Mhm.
computer engineer, if they study for 10 hours, they should code for 9 hours. They just read for 1 hour. Is that true? Like there's a common.
Not really. Um, so so when you start with engineering, right? So the
Mm,
thing is, first year is a common thing. Like
mm.
everybody will study the same thing, irrespective of whether you're in CS,
One
electronics, or
first to one.
any other branch. You have P cycle and C cycle, as you know, physics cycle and chemistry cycle, and these are common subjects. Second year, third year, fourth year is when you study CS
Yeah.
specific subjects. And what typically you will study is an introduction to like different subdomains, I would say, because
Mm.
CS is a very vast domain. The more you know, like you realize that you know nothing, right? So we think that CS is a small one. It's just about coding. It's not. So there is computer networks. Just to think of it like, so you have computer networks, you have operating systems, algorithms, and then you'll be introduced to 3 or 4 different types of languages: C, C++, Java, Python,
So
and
many
maybe
things.
some front end framework. So you will touch pretty much the basics of every subdomains, but you will not go in depth about any particular subject, and that is what you have masters for. But
Mm, yeah.
in bachelor's, it's pretty much this. And as such, for engineering, you don't code so much, to be honest. Yeah, like if you do projects and all, it will mostly be coding. But more focus will be on getting your fundamentals right. And then on top of it, you can easily build. Like coding is not like very hard, right? It's
If you
just
understand things well.
yeah, it's just a way for you to communicate with computer. You can think of it that way. I'm oversimplifying things, but yeah, basically you want computer to do something, and how do you tell computer that this is what you should do? You write, like you do coding, like in some programming language which computer can understand. You tell that, okay, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do like this case. So yeah,
That'll be okay, fine. So they can do. They have to little focus and first thing is what I can understand. The 4 years they understand earlier, building the concepts, and then
yes,
they can keep doing the coding and do projects. Projects, internships are very important actually.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, that's good. And
And I think one question, like even before you ask, many of my juniors have this question that in plus one, some of them would have chosen computer, some
biology.
course on computers instead of biology. So is it important to have that or not?
No, this is a very big question. No, I got this question many times. So that I have taken
Yeah,
PCMB. Should I take computer science?
yeah. That is what I was getting
That's
to.
what I. So yes, correct. Right. So what do you say?
So no, it's not required. It has nothing to do with like whether you take PCMB or PCMC. Just an FYI, like 90% or 80% of my friends never coded or like studied anything about computers before they started engineering, and we
Yeah,
are all doing fine. So I guess the answer is it's not mandatory. So you can
it's
start
not at all mandatory because
afresh.
they will
Yeah,
teach everything from the beginning, right? In engineering.
yes, yes.
That's good. Then
And it's not a hard subject. It's pretty easy.
so it is not a hard subject. You're saying computer science.
It is not a hard subject. No, like if you like problem solving, if you like
Problem solving,
mathematics, analytical
mathematics.
skills,
Yes.
I think these, if you are into this, you will like it. Yeah. But if you are
So
someone like you are just based on theory, um, uh, then you may not like it because it's about application, right? You have to think. You should be a good problem solver.
yeah, no, I was recently reading somewhere actually recently.
Hmm.
Computer science involves lots of mathematics, right? So that is
Yes.
important. Lots of mathematics. But people think
Yeah.
computer science means not mathematics, is some program and all. I think they should know that mathematics is very important actually. Okay, that's good. And now I have one more thing. Suppose if these people are joining because everyone is not getting into IITs or NITs,
Mhm.
and because
Yeah.
the ratio that get into that is very less. And in fact, you are working with a lot of IIT people also actually.
Yeah.
And now tell me, what if there is no placements in the college? In the college, there is no placements at all. They finish computer science.
Hmm.
What they should do? Like what?
Okay. Yeah. This is a fun question.
This.
Um, I think um, it's definitely much easier if you are in a college where like a lot of companies visit, right? It's so much easier to get placed in a company through college because you're just competing with like your friends, like 80 or 90 people, right? And then yeah, so that's a nice thing to have. But I do agree that, like, I mean, maybe you didn't do well in your second PU or in your entrance examination, and then you happen to choose a college which doesn't have much placements. um, it may be little more effort from the individual, but you can definitely get into, like, I mean, the same set of companies as what IITs or NITs or like any premier college people get into, right? And how do you do that? The only thing is you have to be self-motivated to do it, and like you have to make sure that you invest in the when I say invest, like time invest or your efforts, you invest that in how do I say, right things,
I
right?
think.
You should know what you should focus on, and so I can tell like what worked for me, and then some of my friends. I just made a note, I believe. Yeah. So one thing, like because the way internet gives us opportunities, right? It is so much easier to sign up for any course online, and then
Yeah.
like you can fill in all your gaps. Let's say you don't have a good professor in college for a particular subject, and all you need is just look up online, and then these days you pretty much get most like courses for free, so you can fill your gaps there, right? So
Yes.
first of all, get your curriculum, like your subjects covered, like have a solid understanding of that. So wherever there is gap, look up online. You have courses from IITs, or you have courses from Harvard
Yeah,
or
Harvard,
Stanford and
MIT,
Berkeley,
OCW.
MITs, right? All of these have open courseware. So you just sign up for those courses, and then like you, or even just for curiosity, right? You just sign up for one of these courses, and then you have to see why is it that like Harvard or Stanford is like top 5 universities in this world. Like what makes it a top 5, right? You just want to see how they teach. Just for experience sake, you can do it, and that's how I actually did one of the course called CS50. I
CS50.
strongly recommend this to anyone who is in computer science, especially in their first year or second year. So it's a course from Harvard, and it's a free course. It's an introduction to computer science, but the concepts that they have covered there is super solid. Like it gets your fundamentals so strong, and I must say my fundamentals are strong. Probably I must attribute uh, significantly to that course.
CS50.
So,
So I think those who are
CS50.
watching, if that once they take computer science, like the CS
Mhm.
course is quite important. I'll just make a note of that. If someone's asking me,
Uh, like there is something called GitHub, so you can have your
yeah, I
projects and you can push code. So you can have a good profile there. So when recruiters from big firms uh, like look at your profile, and like if you have like so many good projects, you will get calls from good companies like Google, Facebook, like any company, right?
so they
So
have to
many
build a
recruiters
profile
do
in
that.
their GitHub, right?
So when I say profile, it's basically, I don't know, it's not easy to explain. Like you can upload projects there and your code there, right?
I
And
will
then
I
if you
will
have a
take a I will take separate videos for everything from you. Build a profile and all. Okay.
so that is two aspect. One, you get hands-on, meaning you start doing projects by itself, so you get comfortable with coding, you learn a lot, and then you have this profile built, and then recruiters can look at that and then see, okay, this person has a solid project, so and then they give you an interview call, right? So this is one. And um, if you have if you are into research, you can start publishing IEEE papers,
IEEE
right?
papers, yeah.
IEEE papers, that helps when you do masters also. And
Mhm.
then we talked about open course, and then if possible, you can try internships, right? It is hard, um,
Internships. Mm.
yeah, but if you can get an internship during your third year or second year or even final year, that would be like very nice. And then hackathons. So many
Hackathons.
companies
I've
do
heard this.
hackathons. So hackathon is basically a place where everybody comes in together and then say like we have a problem, or like they just give a problem statement and you build a solution for that, right? It's a team of 3 or 4 people, and then you make a project and then you present it to the panel, and then if they like it, like of course you will get some award. And then in many cases companies would be participating in that, and if they see that like your project is good, you get an interview call,
That okay.
right? So keep an eye on these like events like hackathons. And the last one is, as I said, you have a profile in LinkedIn. See, all these things are like very early if you're starting in first year.
Yeah, first
These
year.
are some things that you can think about when you get to maybe third sem or fourth sem. You can start thinking about it, but you have to become serious when you're in third year. But second year is when you might start thinking. First year, like I mean, just
Oh,
concentrate on studies. That is good enough. And of course, there are other things like HackerRank, HackerEarth, AMCAT, Litmus. These are different things which you can sign up in your third or fourth year, where you basically take a test. And if your score is good, there are companies which have signed up, like which are participating in that. They'll say, okay, if your like score is like above 90 or whatever, like we will make an like we'll invite you for an interview, right? So there are multiple options. So it's not the end of the world like if you get into a college with no placements.
okay. I think you really gave lots of this on GitHub, IEEE, OCW, internships, hackathons, and they have a good profile in LinkedIn. So they should start doing all these things at the
Yes.
from the beginning. Okay, that's good. And one more question. Okay, I keep getting
Mhm.
this question. What is the difference between computer science and information science? Information science
Okay.
something somewhere some other places they call something else, but in Karnataka they call information science. Tell me.
Information says, I think in NIT they called it information technology, I guess. I don't
NIT.
remember.
So you're also a
Yeah.
recruiter into NITs, right? So tell me now, what is the difference between CS
Hmm.
and IS? What companies will look when they come? Because even you
Okay.
do an NIT for recruiting. Tell me.
Yeah. So I can talk from opportunities perspective. I
Mm,
can give you my own example when I was in BIT.
mm,
There was no company which, like, I cannot think of a company which allowed computer science students for like placements, but not information science. So every company which allowed CS students, they allowed IS also to sit for placements. It was more like a combination CS and IS, CS and IS, right? So from an opportunity standpoint, it is pretty much the same. But I'm like, for the syllabus standpoint, I cannot comment on how, like, accurately on how much there is overlap. But if I were to, like, guess or say, it would probably be 60 to 70% overlap in the coursework. So easy way to figure this out is, like, you can just check out
just take the syllabus copy.
syllabus, and then compare what all subjects are in CS for 4 years and what all subjects are in IS, and there should at least be 60% overlap. That is my understanding. I
Okay.
could be wrong, but yeah.
Yes, around. Okay, fine. Now, what, for example, if a student is not getting computer science, because what happens, computer science cutoff is too high usually in colleges. If he's unable to get computer science, he can take information science, right? But he can still put the same effort and get into the same company that like, CS got into that. That's possible, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. That
Absolutely.
is
Absolutely.
totally,
Yeah,
yes.
because you said every company will hire, every company will not differentiate that CS and IS. They allow opportunities for both the students. Okay, that's
Yes, yes.
one more thing is most important is salary because the money is because everyone who's targeting about some job to get some salaries.
Yeah,
If they do computer science engineering, so what is the
yeah.
salary range? So no, you tell me, okay? You just tell me about that.
Okay. So it's a broad spectrum. I mean, you have people starting with like 2.5 lakhs per annum. Like, oh, just an FYI, in software domain, we talk salaries in like a yearly a
Mm,
package instead of like talking on like how much you earn per month, right? So when
mm,
somebody says 3 lakh package or 4 lakh package, it's basically for 1 year.
1 year.
And then, like, of course, there are like hidden, like not hidden, like that includes a lot of other benefits also. Sometimes it's not necessarily, if somebody says 3 lakhs, it's like 3 lakh by 12. That's what you get in hand. It's not like that. Maybe you'll get a little bit lesser because there is a
Lesser than
minimum
that.
one.
Deductions will be there.
So yeah, I mean, it's a very big range. Um, but if you get into like most service-based companies, and that is what we call mass employers, where like maybe like for example, when my college BIT, these mass employers hired probably 200 people or 250 of us,
250 people.
and then
Mm.
yeah, or even more, I believe. And then typically the average pay back then, like when I graduated, which was 2014, um, was around 3.2 lakhs per annum. But I assume with inflation and everything now, then that number would be 3.8 or maybe even 4 lakhs, right? That's, you can think of that as an like average uh, package that you get out of after you graduate. Of course, then
That
there
means
is
if you get into product based companies, it will be too high, right?
yeah, it will be higher. So this is the first segment, right? Of
Service
course, I'm
based.
not saying this is the minimum, but this is typically like if you're decent enough, you should be able to get this much. Of course, there are people who start with much lower salaries also, right? I mean, maybe they joined a startup or
Startups.
I mean, startups also pay more, and but there are startups which pay less also, right? So it depends. Um, so the salary could be lower also, but I'm saying like average case. And now then there is product-based companies, which is uh, what we call mid-tier. Depending on college, like the naming conventions will change.
Mm.
For example, for BIT, a company which pays 10 lakh per annum or maybe 12 lakhs per annum could be treated as a top tier, right?
Mm.
But
Yes.
the same company may not be considered as top tier in IIT or in ITs.
Okay.
For them, it could be mid-tier,
Mm.
right? So it changes with college, but let's, for the sake of discussion, let's say anything that pays from 5 to 8 lakhs is called mid tier, right? So there are product based companies which what is it? pay that much. And then there is top tier, or what we call as dream companies, which pay like extremely high salaries. Like you can, uh, I know companies which pays like 18 lakhs per annum, or even 20 to 24 lakhs per annum.
So even from a normal college also, right? Even from any
It
engineering.
is hard. I would like, I mean, they may not come to college and then hire you, but for example, if you get into a dream company, it could be Facebook, Google, Amazon, or any uh,
Any product-based companies,
yeah,
Amazon.
yeah, dream companies, whatever you call it, right? There are many more. I'm just like naming a few. Flipkart,
Cisco.
yeah. So they don't pay you less because you come from this college, right? They don't
College
do
is
that.
not important, yes.
So the thing is, getting into that companies is hard, but they won't differentiate that. Okay, you're coming from this college, so we'll pay you less. There are some companies which do that, but it's very small factor, probably 10% difference or 15% difference. But most companies, I would say, would pay the same irrespective of where you are coming if you clear their interview. Like if you meet their bar, like the interview bar, um, you will get paid the same.
Okay.
And
Salary range
yeah,
can be anywhere from 4 lakhs to 24, 30, 40. I think there is no upper end.
yeah, I would not say 40.
In
Like yeah, it
India,
can happen. Yeah, it can happen, but those are like very very rare. So
very rare.
a decent one, like maybe 25 lakhs per annum, is
25
doable.
is a
Yeah.
good. Okay.